So basically what our focus is to do the AIML powered digital transformation, provide a tailor-made software platform to the industry as per their requirement, which is in line with Industry 4.0 and 5.0, where as per our knowledge, industry is lagging behind currently, right? Specifically MSMEs. Big companies are already adopting this one, but MSMEs are lagging, and MSMEs are contributing more in India's PNL, right? If you look at geographically, so 60-70% they are contributing. So focus is to how we are going to scale it up that MSME.
So normally we had an iTech BITS Goa along with innovation entrepreneurship societies as well as incubation innovation cell. So we are planning to do an IPR session as well as a talk on IPR innovation and entrepreneurship talk, and there is a panel discussion. Okay, so we will finish the program by 5 to 5:30, and after that we will have some refreshment. And there are a lot of dignitaries from state government as well as many of the Goa shipyard, and then a lot of people, investors from all part of India is available, as well as the people from mentor of Ministry of Education is also available here. So any doubts, clarifications based on entrepreneurship, innovation, and your project related things, you can ask us the queries also, right? This is not going to be a one-way program. You can also raise many questions to us. So it must be an interaction one. So now I welcome Professor Anirban Roy, Joint Secretary BGs, to deliver the welcome note as well as talk about our BGs.
Not take much time. It is not about us, it's about them. I welcome all of you to BITS Pilani Goa campus. It's a very important occasion, that too when BITS Pilani Goa is actually completing 20 years. We have completed 20 years, 2004, 2025 we have. This BIGIS, BITS Goa Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship Society, it started in 2020, we completed 5 years. We have taken baby steps, we have tried to consolidate ourselves with the help of all the dignitaries who are present here today, and people who are not here also today. And we have grown slowly. And we have consolidated ourselves. There are a lot of companies who are incubated with us right now. And it's important for us, having completed in the last 5 years, as being established ourselves in the ecosystem of Goa, it is important for us to take the next step. And in this regard, it is fantastic that we are having this event today. I thank all of you to be here. I hope that all the panel discussions, all the discussions that go on from here on, not only help us understand what is going on in BIGIS, but also lay the foundations of what we can do in the near future, so as to create a very sustainable ecosystem of startup, incubation and innovation. Sustaining is very important, and that is what we are looking at. That is being challenged. And now that we, as a country, we know what it is important that we sustain it. And that is why this interaction is so very important. I welcome all of you. Thank you very much. As I said, I will not take much time, and welcome all of you to this event. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon all. It is an absolute honor to welcome you all to the inauguration of our second and first in Goa AI Studio Metalex in collaboration with esteemed BITS Goa Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship Society and the Institutional Innovation Council BITS Pilani Goa campus. Today is not just about launching a new innovation. It's about taking another significant step towards bridging the gap between academia and industry, fostering a culture of collaboration, creativity and meaningful impact. When we inaugurated our first AI studio at Pune Institute of Computer Technology, we envisioned a space where students and industry leaders could come together to solve real-world challenges through the transformative power of artificial intelligence. The success and enthusiastic response to that initiative reaffirm our belief that when academia and industry work hand in hand, the possibilities are limitless. Reflecting on the current landscape, our nation's leaders have emphasized the pivotal role of artificial intelligence in shaping India's future. Our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji recently stated, AI is already reshaping our economy, security and even our society. AI is writing the code for humanity in this century. This profound statement highlights the urgency and significance of integrating AI into our developmental framework. Similarly, Mr. Nandan Nilekani, Chairman of Infosys, envisions the future where companies develop their own AI models tailored to specific applications, fostering innovation and reducing dependencies. This perspective aligns perfectly with our mission to empower local talent to create customized AI solutions that address unique challenges. Our collaboration with BITS Goa is a testament to this vision. Like our studio in Pune, MetalX is a crucible where ideas will be nurtured, talents honed, and groundbreaking solutions developed. By bringing together students, researchers, and industry professionals, we aim to create an ecosystem that thrives on shared knowledge and collective growth. I extend my deepest gratitude to Shri Rohan Kaunteji, Honorable IT Minister, Government of Goa, for joining us even if only for a short while, and Shri D.S. Prasant ji, CEO of the Startup Cell Government of Goa, for their unwavering support and presence today. Your dedication to fostering a vibrant tech ecosystem in Goa is truly inspiring. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to the dignitaries, Mr. Umesh Rathod ji, Mr. Tej Naik ji, Ms. Shalini Menzies, Neeraj Kapoor and Mr. Prashant Saxena for your presence and unwavering support. A heartfelt thank you to the leadership of BITS Goa, Professor V. Ram Gopal Rao, Professor Suman Kundu, Professor Anirban Roy, Professor Saroj Sundar Baral, Mr. Manoj Kumar Rajgopalan and the entire team for embracing this collaboration with enthusiasm and a shared vision. I would also like to thank my team, Mr. Chetan and Preetam, for their relentless efforts and dedication in bringing this vision to life. On behalf of iTech Seed, I extend an open invitation to the government officials and policy makers. See this video as a catalyst for Goa's tech-driven growth. Your guidance, policy support and involvement can help shape this space into a national hub for AI excellence, driving innovation that contributes to the public welfare and economic progress. Together, we can work towards building foundation models that align with the AI India mission, strengthening our nation's capabilities in artificial intelligence and positioning India as a global leader in this transformative domain. To industry leaders and entrepreneurs, this studio is your sandbox for experimentation and discovery. Let's join forces to develop cutting-edge solutions and mentor budding talent, accelerate the translation of research into impactful products and services. Your expertise and real-world insights will be invaluable in bridging the gap between innovation and market readiness. To the students and researchers, this is your playground, your launch pad, your opportunity to turn bold ideas into reality. Leverage this space to explore the unexplored, collaborate with industry experts, and build solutions that address local and global challenges. This studio belongs to you, and your curiosity and creativity will define its success. As we embark on this new chapter, let's make MetalX a living, breathing ecosystem of innovation, a place where ideas flourish, collaborations thrive, and technology is harnessed to create a better future for all. Thank you.
To do this with us. So this is the first of its kind MetalX studio that we have launched here in Goa. Our first studio we launched in PICT Pune, one of the best so-called institute, has about 100 PhDs working with the PICT. So being a native of Goa, I thought at least the second studio should be in Goa. I think the idea behind this studio is very, very simple. So when it comes to academia, they have the wealth of knowledge, both as a faculty as well as students. And it's been our personal experience. So this journey started sometime during COVID, I would say. when my other two startups, one food tech, which you have, the government of Goa has sponsored in some sense, and one in the fashion tech space, was finding it very difficult to get the right set of resources. And that is when Chetan reached out to me, who is also a friend and a tech guy whom I met in Bahrain, though we were living in Pune together in the same city. We never met in Pune, we met in Bahrain. And we started this journey, and we also found it very difficult to get the right set of people to do the right sort of solutions for MSMEs. Basically, we started as a help to MSMEs more than the large corporations. And so, we decided to engage the colleges, and Chetan started with his daughter's college, which was PICT. And to our surprise, we saw the results were astonishing. I mean, the kind of accuracy that you normally see in an AI project, especially an OCR-driven AI project, is somewhere around 82, 83, 85%. In the first few trials itself, we could get an accuracy of over 97%. So that's when we said that, okay, there is a space for an industry-academia collaboration if there is somebody who is able to own the project end-to-end. Because it was so happening that the industry was not trusting the academia to do a good job in some sense, because they don't have the experience, right, of managing the service level agreements and so on and so forth. So that became a challenge on one side, and on the other side, there is so much of infrastructure being created in the colleges, like government is giving grants for GPUs and so on and so forth, which is not getting utilized to the best. Students are still doing lab projects, right? So we thought, why not give them live projects? So this is how this whole ecosystem came together, and thank you for agreeing to inaugurate it with all of us here. But before we go to the AI story of it, I would definitely want you to speak a little bit about the Goa ecosystem as far as startups are concerned.
So first of all, congratulations Pritam and the team for setting this up. Actually, it's the first step towards bridging the gap between industry and academia, and we are going a long way to get that done on a practical basis. I think I'm seeing a lot of young people here, so maybe I would just want to step back and talk a little bit about what's the future of the country. So why we are doing this and where we are going from here. Just imagine a household, maybe father, mother, maybe 2 children who are just in college, and the household is earning say around ₹1 lakh per month. And we are seeing the expenses towards the education and maintaining the lifestyle and all the expenses are like ₹1,25,000. So what's going to happen? So what is the solution for that? Maybe the household needs to find some way. They may take a loan. They'll find some way to mitigate that. And if it's not mitigated, if this challenge is, if this problem is not solved, then they become bankrupt, or they may not be able to live the life which they want to live, and then there is so many negative aspects and negative challenges to that. Maybe the children who are learning, who are studying in college, will grow up and take up a job. So that could add some, resource or income to that household, and then the household starts, stabilizing and so forth. And then maybe the children, they will live and they will go and stay separately and so forth. So there is a lot of turmoil going on within the household which I am talking about. Now let's put this whole perspective towards a nation like ours, like India. So what is the income which we are earning today, and what's the expenditure for the nation? So I think we are in the negative. We are saying that we are around $100 billion negative, and continuously doing that. It's not only about India. You might have heard about this narrative which happened between Elon Musk and President Trump a few days back about what is the income and what is the expenditure of the nation. Now, what are the opportunities in front of us? How do we solve this problem? It's a serious problem, right? We are importing, or our expenditure is more than what we are earning. So going back to the same narrative, this young child who was just passing out, he started earning, and over a period of time, he gets an income for the household. But you also see the father who was earning, over a period of time, he will also retire, and the income of that household will increase by 50% or zero, whatever the situation is. If he's earning some pension, he will get some money, otherwise it's going to be zero. So over a period of time, that's also going to be another hit that the household will collapse. In the same way, if we as a nation don't build that resources, don't build that richness, wherein the young age, which is going to become productive in the near future, we have a majority of them in the younger age, the productive age, but over a certain period of time, when these young productive people will become non-productive, then we are going to suffer. So that is one of the biggest challenges which we are seeing today. Now, to solve this problem, which will happen over a period of time, where employment will become a problem if there is no enough resource, companies being created, and where revenue is not going to be earned, where enough revenue is not generated, then how do we solve this problem is a question which is in front of everybody. So the leadership is looking at startup as one of the opportunities for us to come out of this problem. Now, why startups? If you look at the scale of growth, if you look at any of the business, say for example, if you take a simple case like a case study of Apple. Now, Foxconn, which is the manufacturing wing of Apple, they have around the business is around, what they earn is around 1/5 of what Apple makes, and Apple keeps 4/5 of what it makes totally, because they say the design is ours and the whole business is ours. So what I'm trying to say is that if you look at manufacturing as one sector, the margins may be just 2%. Whereas if you look at design, if you look at creating a product design, then the margins are much more higher. It could go up to 40%. So it makes sense for people who are going to get into business, who are going to develop something, to look at an opportunity where the margins are higher, where we can have higher earnings for the resources which we are deploying. So I'm not against manufacturing, it's also important, but you look at what the margins are in manufacturing. Can you, as youngsters today, think of building some products, designing some products which can be global products where the margins are high and where you start earning? So this is a question which everybody should think about. And what is the support required? What is the ecosystem support required to develop that? That's the big question. Now coming back to a sector like AI, if I may touch upon, because you are getting into AI, it's estimated by 2030 AI is going to be a 15 trillion. So why not look into those sectors which are high earning or which has a potential to earn high for yourself and for the nation? So I think this is what in a nutshell we are trying to do, and the whole country is trying to see and focus on how startups can be leveraged as a vehicle for both innovation as well as the development of the economy of the nation, and what needs to be done to support the startups at different locations and different ecosystems.
Great, thank you. I think that sets the context of what the youngsters should look at. And every college that at least we go to, we take this poll and we ask people how many of you want to do a job and how many of you want to create a job. So I think that ratio is steadily, but it's nicely changing. There are more number of people who now want to create jobs, which is a good sign in some sense, I would say. Now coming back to the Goa ecosystem, what is the current trend? What kind of startups do you see coming under the stream with startup promotion cell? What is the kind of the balance of all the, I think we have got about 400 startups registered now.
More than that. In fact, I come from the startup and IT promotion cell, which is part of the Department of Information Technology, Electronics and Communication. So this is a cell which is carved out of the department to promote these two main pillars, we can say, technology division, technology promotion as well as startup promotion. So as far as startups are concerned, we have about 570 registered startups in Goa. in multiple domains. Most of them are into IT and IT related. Food is another sector where we find a lot of startups from Goa building products. We also find startups in the tourism sector, tourism and tourism tech. Then medtech is also an interesting case. I think many of you, even in biggies, you have a lot of medtech companies and biotech companies. In fact, the unicorn, which is based out of Goa, is a medtech unicorn. And number of startups who have got patents in the medtech sector. So these are the broad sectors I can put in. But most of the startups are in an early stage, and very few are in growth stage. Lot of funds raised by startups, particularly like 1,500 crores is what has been raised privately by startups based in Goa.
Wow.
Another, yeah, that's
amazing.
a good number to talk about. Another interesting point of the Goa ecosystem is that we find a lot of startups moving to Goa and building from Goa. So that is one aspect that we want to promote. We want some good companies to come to Goa and build from Goa. So that's a kind of exchange of ideas and understanding and benchmarking the local ecosystem and the local startups compared to progressive startups which are moving in. In fact, I have been just moving around meeting some of the startups, interesting startups. In fact, Tej has got a wonderful product startup which he is working on, which has great potential, which is exporting to multiple nations. I would just last week I met with a company called which is manufacturing eyewear called Coco Leni. If you know that, it's a very design-oriented company which is expanding and is exporting. And there is another AI company called Chimera, which is developing something based in Mandre. So you're finding a lot of startups building products in isolation, sitting in different parts of the state and building from there. So what we thought we will do is we'll try to bring them in the mainstream. We'll try to integrate that. So we are developing a kind of a portal where we are aggregating all the co-living spaces, co-working spaces, bringing all the startups together and trying to see how there is exchange of ideas, exchange of knowledge, exchange of information between the startups, so that there's a proper benchmark and the quality of startups improves. I have been interacting with the students a lot, but my experience about the young children looking into entrepreneurship has not been that exciting as compared to other parts of the country. Maybe because we need to do a lot of work at a very early stage. We need to work with the students to develop ideas and build on ideas. Why I'm saying this is because the kind of ideas, like we ran 2-3 hackathons and programs. Recently also, the government of Goa ran a program on innovative ideas, the Department of Education. And they are running a program called Converge, which is happening these days. It's going to be launched tomorrow by the Honorable Chief Minister. I'm seeing the kind of ideas which are coming out are, not the kind of ideas which will actually survive in the longer, period. Because now with the changing age of where AI, access to information, and identifying what is a good idea, what is a good problem to solve is not a big issue. Those times when you could start off with some kind of an app and you could aggregate those apps and you can build something and become successful, I think those days are over now. It's more about how you are going to build your own enterprise, which is going to be either sustainable, cutting edge, and which is going to be differentiated. I think the real challenge now is to build deep tech startups and impact-based startups. I think this is where the differentiation will happen. If you are able to build those kind of startups, I'm sure that at a very early stage when you are starting out, your ideas may not hit those kind of startups, but it's better that you start early, you learn, you pivot, and once you pivot, you are able to sustain and build impactful startups. So I think it is important for us to look at those aspects, particularly among the youth, among the children, and see how we can convert those through the support from the government. So through this, we are just relaunching our startup policy because every state is looking at its growth of its startup ecosystem over a period of time. And normally the policies last for around 3 years time. Every 3 years we'll go back and look and see whether we are on the right track, whether we need to pivot and so forth. And I think we are making a huge change in the policy as far as our positioning is concerned. We want to position Goa as the creative capital of India. When we say creative capital of India, we want to invite the best of product development companies and those kind of companies who are developing new age products to come and build in Goa. And this we have not thought about on our own. We went about asking people what works in Goa and what's the best thing to happen in Goa. And many people told us about their experience during COVID times when the whole of the country was here building things and working out from here. And then they said Goa is a great place to build products and to be creative in nature. Even in fact, like companies like Chalo, which has raised $110 million, they are based in Goa. They told us like they find it very good to build from Goa. They are also having good access to good talent in Goa itself with premier institutes and so forth. And in fact, Quidditch, which is a sports company which is behind the technology behind the IPL and BCCI matches and so forth, all the technologies. So they basically built a product in Goa during the last ICC World Cup, which was a product for the Apple Pro, which is converting the highlights into AV. So they built it within 3 months in Goa, and after that they didn't leave Goa and they didn't go back to Bombay. So they stayed back in Goa, and now they are setting up a full-fledged center in Goa. So these are the stories which we want to highlight and narrate, and then have a policy which is a vision for Goa, saying that we want to be the creative capital, and invite some companies to get in their R&D team, their product development team to work from Goa. And what we actually require is the supporting ecosystem where talent is also available. In fact, we have every first Friday we are meeting with designers, and I want to share that we have more than 100 plus designers, who are professionally qualified designers from NID and other places who are based in Goa and building from Goa. So these are really good times for us. And along with that policy, we also want to leverage and focus on certain emerging technologies like Web3, maybe drones, maybe design and so forth, and support those startups who want to actually get supported through this particular. So what I'm saying is government is not something which wants to do everything by itself. Government is here to leverage the existing ecosystem which is being built. Government is here to support. Government is more like a supporting hand or supporting angle to what is happening in the ecosystem, and we want to just amplify what is happening in pockets, in areas. And when industry, academia, government and the media come together, the output is tremendous, and we want to play our role for the forefront, not from the back end. So we want to be actively involved. So that's why we want to be present everywhere and support these issues.
Wonderful. I think this was a great answer, Prashant. So thanks to BITS, you have one more support system called as the MetalX AI Studio. So that is something also we would love your 570 startups plus these startups who are moving into Goa to come and explore. How can we build this collaboration? That was my next logical question.
Absolutely, as I said, we need to come together, and as I said, these 4 pillars, when they work together, we can create impact. But more importantly, we need to take those baby steps, because I feel that we are ready to mature into an ecosystem where everybody is playing their roles effectively. Everybody is playing their roles in silos. We are not telling or sharing a unified story about Goa. Everybody is sharing their own stories, the smaller stories. And once we are able to unify and tell a unified story about Goa, I think that's the time when the nation will look at Goa as a destination and the world will look at Goa as a destination. In fact, a few days back, I was on a panel on AI for the hospitality industry. It was by Bharat 24. And very good insights about what could be done. If you look at Goa particularly, hospitality is one sector which is really making an impact. We have close to 5,000 hotels, 360 world-class hotels. I mean, it's like star hotels and so forth. So the opportunity for AI and technology is tremendous in there, and across the verticals. So like we were highlighting around 5 to 6. Maybe the first is the experience. The time taken for a person who comes to the reception and says hello, thank you, and the moment he wants to come back, how is that experience, how it can become much more easier, faster and so forth. Second point, some of the startups are looking at like how to make it much more efficient. And Mr. Anand Chatterjee, who is a hotelier, who is also on the panel, was talking about his experience of already deploying this kind of solutions in the hospitality industry. How to make it more efficient, so that when somebody comes, all his information is already known, what kind of liking he has, preferences he has, and so forth. Improving the revenue was another area which AI solutions they were looking at. How can hotel rooms be maximized? If there is an event happening, say Carnival is happening, a lot of people are coming to Vasco, how you can scale up the revenue opportunity for that was another area. Then you are also looking at the security aspect. Then somebody was sharing an experience of saying that Airbnb has cancelled 5,000 plus bookings after COVID. And it was just because of the security
In
issue.
Goa?
No, all throughout.
Okay.
It was because of the security issue. What they were saying was there was a shootout in one of the bookings where events were held and so forth. And they wanted to see, they didn't want those kind of things to happen. So security is a very key component which can be solved by AI and so forth. Then they were talking about the staffing upgradation, data analytics, and also about maintenance which can be used to be done in the hotel industry. So just one vertical of a hotel industry, look at the practical solutions which can come through AI. So I think when we are talking about that 15 trillion opportunity in the AI sector, I think we should embrace that. And even if you are able to focus on one or two sectors, a sector like hospitality itself, which offers tremendous opportunity, I think it will make a huge difference for the scale and for the ecosystem.
Yeah, so earlier, Prashant, we used to hear this terminology called as mobile first. Now everybody has started talking about AI first. So anything that you build, whether it is in the service industry or hospitality, or as you rightly said, has to be AI enabled right from the word go. Is the department or the government also thinking about how, the startups that register with you, how are you going to make them AI first?
Actually, we have a lot of plans for the government. Maybe I will not be in a position to spell it out at this point because it's still more in the planning stage. But focus on AI and trying to look at AI, maybe a little bit of blockchain and design are the key components which the government is trying to focus on. Whenever we have meetings with people who are in positions, for example, we just met with Dr. Ajay Chaudhary, who is the chairman of the Indian Quantum Mission, and incidentally who also stays in Goa. These were exactly the kind of discussions which were, we are having, how do we position ourselves, which are the sectors we look into. So AI is prominently one of the sectors we are looking at, and we are still in a very nascent stage. We are yet to spell out those things. But what I feel is more than the government doing it, the ecosystem should do that. We should all come together, both as industry, academia, and the government should sit together and build, what could be potentially the best opportunity for us.
Fantastic. So before I end, if there are any questions from the audience, I'll take one or two maybe. Anybody wants to ask anything, not just related to AI, but anything related to startup ecosystem, he is your man. In Goa. Yes, sir.
So, we have been doing a lot of mimic models from the West. What is your take on, coming up with the innovation story of India? How we can have groundbreaking ideas coming from here? And what is your approach as a Goa Startup Mission to think about it and propagate those thoughts to the student bodies within the state?
Excellent question, because this is the biggest pain point. Most of the successes we have seen are basically around mimicking what is happening in the West, and we are trying to build around that. One of the biggest challenges, like India has more than 150,000 startups which are registered, but they say just 2% of them are actually into deep tech and actually building those kind of revolutionary products. And now the focus is on trying to see how we can build our own products which, products for the world. So whenever we are talking, in fact, when I mentioned about our discussions which happened recently, it was about how can Goa become the design capital? how can products be built from Goa, and how can Goa become a place which can build products for the world. So the idea is, how do we create an ecosystem where the right kind of talent comes in, and the right kind of supporting ecosystem comes in, the right kind of expertise in terms of mentors and domain experts and so forth come in, and together we build that whole story. So as I'm saying, we need to transition from that individual storytelling into a unified storytelling for the state. And once we are able to achieve that, then we will find that we are able to draw the best of talent, not only from across the country, from across the globe. Another point I'd like to highlight here is the government of Goa is also looking at digital nomads as one of a focus sector. We are going to have more than 1 billion digital nomads in the world by 2030 is the estimate. And this is a huge number. And digital nomads are people who are highly talented people who are earning very well, and more than the earnings, they are highly skilled and talented people, and they are offering the services. And once we are able to draw these talented people from across the globe, because Goa has that attraction of being a tourist destination, it's much more easier to attract these people. We become a conduit or a place from where they can actually move around in the country. So if a person is coming to India for a period of say 1 year, he could come to Goa, and from Goa he could move around across the country. And once we know that this kind of talents are available, then we will find that this talent will attract a lot of high potential startups also to the state of Goa. So Goa becomes a place where talent is there, good startups are there, and we are able to build great products. So this is the plan, this is the thought, to build innovative products and path-breaking products for the state.
Thank you for that question.
Anyone else? One last question before we wind up. Great, thank you so much, Prashant, for agreeing to do this with me, and we look forward to associating with the startup promotions and in terms of making all the startups that register with you AI first. This facility is available again thanks to BITS for them to come and explore as much as they can. And as I was saying earlier to the minister, that we have made it so affordable for everybody to get onto the AI journey much faster than the regular startup. So thanks, and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Jason. Congratulations once again.
And welcome to the dignitaries and guests. It was a wonderful session, the earlier one, which Mr. Preetham has hosted along with Mr. Prashant. And there are really good takeaways, sir. I hope the guest would able to answer some of the areas which you covered, right, probably. So I would again like to welcome all of you, sir. So I just want to introduce the panel. So first of all, I'll ask Mr. Tej to introduce himself, and then one by one we'll have an introductory round, and then we'll start the discussion.
First, thank you all for having me here. Thank you, Preetham, for giving me this opportunity. So I'm Tej Naik. I am co-founder of this company called Powerland. We manufacture all-terrain vehicles based in Maritime Industrial Estate. We are one of the first companies to do that in India, the only one actually. And currently are exporting to more than 24 plus countries from Goa. We want to get Goa on a global landscape, land map, to get many more people, employment opportunities in Goa. And that's what we are working on. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
So my name is Umesh Rathod. I'm from the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, Government of India. I am heading Maharashtra and Goa region, looking after the IPR, Innovation, Incubation, Entrepreneurship landscape. And so that's a bit of me. And 14 years into the startup ecosystem, written a little bit about startups, passionate about the India story.
Thank you. Moji.
Hi, my name is Prashant Saxena, and I am from Goa Shipyard Limited. Currently working as a manager in Technical Services Department and a member of AI Innovations Committee. Before that, I was in IT sector, and I've also worked with the MOD IT cell.
Thank you, Mr. Prashant.
A very good afternoon. I'm Shalini Menezes, I think what binds us all here on this panel, as well as Prashant and Ashwini, is that we want to put Goa on the map, and we want to be seen as we are serious about what we are doing. So my background is a bit confused. I'm a physicist turned IPR lawyer turned to finance, and I've gone over to the dark side. Basically, I help understanding innovations. I run an IP strategy and IP consulting firm. And once that IP is filed and protected, I help you with valuing and monetizing or commercializing it.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, I am Kiran Mehta, and I head the screening and grants at Jito Incubation Center. So basically, we are an angel network, and close to 100 companies we have invested. 250 crore is already being disbursed, so we are sector agnostic. So we work with a very early stage startup to the growth stage startup.
Fantastic. Thank you all of you. So guys, we are seeing here industry-based intellects, ministry people and the investors as well. So probably you can take advantage of this time and raise your points or meet them after this panel if you have any questions. So basically, I would like to start with all of you. Today's agenda topic is obviously AI disruption, right? We are seeing that due to China again, China disrupted the world, entire world, due to launch of their DeepSeek model in month of January. So obviously, whole world is kind of taken aback due to that disruption, the innovation which they brought in. So obviously, the topic is around that. Everybody is discussing on that front, how India is going to cope up about AI disruption and the challenges which are going to arise due to that model which are coming in, and obviously the growing need of digitization and ways to handle it. So I would like to start with Mr. Tej, wherein I would like to understand how should companies approach AI partnership and collaboration, right? In today's world, when there is a lot of disruption is happening, every day new technology is coming in a picture, right? And then the people like you who are at forefront of this industry revolution in terms of startups and then EVs, right? How you see those kind of disruption and how you are going to cope up in terms of your business growth?
Okay, thank you. So I think AI is a thing which is constantly evolving. We are also learning every phase wise. So already as a company, we have already started implementing on certain key things what we have to do. So one thing is that I don't know how many of you all are aware, but there's this new AI tool which has come from China itself, which is Kimi AI. Kimi AI is actually, it's far more advanced than even ChatGPT. What Kimi AI is doing is you can get more than 100 search documentations in a minute, in a matter of seconds, what we do. And it's not only that, but you can upload up to 50 files of 100 GB, 100 MB to actually scan your data. So it's a fantastic tool for any new startups to use. Then there's something called a Gumtool, which has come. So as startups, we always have limited budget, so we always start with whatever is free tools which are available to us first. What Gumtool does is you can just choose whichever website you want to use. Just take the website, put on the Gumtool this. It will actually summarize the entire website for you, including your emails. So what we have done is that we get a lot of customer emails from across the world. So with the help of Gumtool, what we are doing is we are identifying which customers come from which parts of the world, and Gumtool actually helps us in scanning the data and giving it back in an Excel format to us. So all this actually saves us hours of work. The third thing what we are doing is legal documentation. I think one of the things which is most common to us is non-disclosures, letter of intents which we have to do, and MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding.
with all the players, all the clients, suppliers, we have to continuously do it. And initially we used to pay lawyers 10,000, 15,000 for every documentation, which sometimes the deal used to not even happen. Now with the help of AI, we are actually drafting a lot of these legal documents online, which saves us a lot of amount, a lot of time.
And obviously it is improving your productivity.
Yeah, definitely. So it's improving our productivity, definitely. And the last thing, of course, is because we are from the transport sector, our ATVs are largely used also in the agriculture segment. So we are actually supplying to one of the biggest vineyard manufacturers in Chile. And what we are trying to do is right now they are using people to actually use the ATVs for spraying pesticides, chemicals. So on a daily basis they use 8 hours of work. So what we are working on is trying to find ways to automate the entire process, because it's actually a repetitive task where you actually don't require a human to run the ATV. So we are working on with different companies in India. We are also working on with Defense Research, DRDO in India. They have actually supplied them to unmanned ATVs. And we are further working on trying to find the best possible way with sensors and camera vision to make it fully automated, the entire process.
Very good, fantastic. So we are here to support you as iTechSeed as well. As you rightly mentioned, the companies like yours, right, who are in a way startup, right, though you already scaled up to the next level. But then this is kind of a studio wherein we can help you certainly in terms of innovating new kind of offering, right? Because yours is a kind of a customized, not customized, but unique offerings which you are providing to various segments, right? So as you rightly mentioned, there are models which you can adopt, but obviously there are certain things in terms of when we are talking about ChatGPT or maybe DeepSeek or Grok, which Elon Musk has launched recently. The lot of information is flowing around, and then we are unable to understand which information is right, how to decipher it, and how we are going to tackle this kind of information influx, right? And adopt that information in our day-to-day business. So that is obviously a key area. So moving to Mr. Umesh Rathod. So, sir, how would you like to address this AI disruption? And then I wanted to understand from you how this industry-academia collaboration will help to manage this kind of disruption.
Absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity to be on the panel, Chetan ji. And as I already in our discussion I mentioned, AICTE Ministry of Education, we are celebrating this year of AI 2025. I think it becomes very important for academic institutions to be in sync with what's happening in the industry, because academia has always been seen as a follower to the industry. We need to co-create programs related to AI and give students an opportunity to explore what's there in this. Having said that, as I mentioned, China is disrupting a lot of things. I think a lot of things are yet to happen because AI mainly is focused on the data, right? It's like Ego. If you provide garbage, you'll get the output as a garbage. So as of now, the data which we are providing, what Tejas also mentioned, right? You can provide a lot of data to the AI, but then once you get the information also, how relevant that information is for you. Keeping a track on that, the more data you give to AI, and once you get the output, how is that you are able to track what is right and wrong in that? It's also a big thing. So the biases which are there in AI, right? It's another problem which we are facing. If you ask an AI certain things, it will give biased answers because it tries to find already existing data. So how do we create that data is another challenge which we are facing. Having said that, I think the best of the stories related to AI, groundbreaking ideas will come from India. Not now, maybe when the things are going to settle down. And I think this labs like AI Studio, MetalX Lab are going to be very pivotal in doing it, because AI is going to be there, AI is going to evolve. We have to evolve with it. It's not going to replace jobs. It is going to act as an enabler. None of the technologies can replace humans, because we have created it, and we might create another thing beyond AI in near future. But the whole crux is what boils down is how you are becoming yourself comfortable with that technology. What happened long years back when we missed the bus by delaying the role of computer coming in India. I think the government is taking this initiative head on. Honorable Minister is very comfortable with it. In 2017, in fact, he spoke about AI and how AI is going to be a big enabler for 21st century. So we need to join this bandwagon and see what is in it for each one of us. And for academia, I think it's a win-win situation to scale up the research, and I think this lab will do wonders. And it's there in Pittsburgh, which has churned out good unicorns.
Yeah.
I think next big unicorns will be AI-enabled.
Thank you. You are absolutely right, Umerji. So, in fact, new innovation is going to come from India, right? But we completely agree that that should settle down. And that's what we are hearing, that in terms of AI innovation, maybe in the next couple of months or years, it will settle down, and then the holistic approach will be taken, because the way now all the AI products are churning out, be it from the US or China, those are all from the Gen AI side. As Mr. Prashant rightly mentioned, we need to focus on deep tech technologies, right? Wherein we should adopt industry-centric approach, and that's where we are continuously highlighting and saying that people like us, startups, should adopt or provide tailor-made products to the industry, right? Because industry can't keep relying on always ChatGPT or Grok or the DeepSeek kind of models, right? They have to invent, or startups like us has to come forward and provide those kind of new age product to the industry. So that's what we are also saying.
To add to what I said, and to this discussion, so India is a bit different from the other nations, because we started our AI journey with responsible AI, ethical AI, and AI for all.
Correct.
So we are looking at the last mile, how farmers or the people at the end get benefited from it. It's not just for pertaining to certain industries, but it's how each one of us could be benefited out of it. So I think that will democratize a lot of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is one of our thought process when we are establishing this AI studio. We wanted to democratize AI and offer a low-cost kind of a model, right? Because obviously industry can't afford this kind of costly products in terms of their day-to-day business. So that's where we are trying our level best. And as Mr. Prashant rightly mentioned, that we are here, so we are not seeing Goa as a travel destination. We really believe that probably Goa can help us to create that kind of ecosystem what we are forcing in terms of product innovation or R&D, and that's where our expertise are, and we would like to make this studio as a research and innovation hub, right, in terms of digitization or disruptive technologies, what industry is looking at. So over to you, madam. Obviously, what we are talking here, so you are also seeing this AI disruption, and you are coming from intellectual property kind of expertise. So what kind of challenges you are seeing when there is AI disruption around, and then whoever wanted to build any kind of product, right, probably that product may be already developed or innovated somewhere in the world, right? So what kind of challenges you are seeing in terms of maintaining that intellectual properties?
Thank you for that question. And I have a very unpopular opinion about AI, and I'm afraid if I say it, you're going to drive me out of that door. It is that AI should not be the end goal. AI is the facilitator. It is like when the internet came in, when smartphone came in, people said, गया अभी सबकी नौकरी गई, you know, this is it, now there is no need for this, there is no need for that, postman will not be there and all that. But yet we are still, I know I still buy postcards now and then to mail to family and friends, and I do receive them as well. So postman is still there. The courier fellow is also still there. So just because internet came didn't mean all these people were outdated. Same way AI has come, it is a tool. And we have to use that tool effectively to achieve a greater goal. Not that that tool becomes the end in itself. You know, when you get a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So it should not be that we're trying to force fit AI into every conversation. In this case, of course, it is pertinent because we are here to honor AI Studio Metal X. But just for the larger scheme of things in terms of startups for Goa, as Prashant rightly mentioned, we have to focus on deep tech, and that is closely related to manufacturing. So those things have to be the end goal, not that AI has come and let's talk about a new favorite child. With respect to intellectual property concerns, now if everyone is still friends with me after that unpopular opinion, with respect to intellectual property concerns, you know, I have a lot of people, a lot of startups that I mentor who come to me and say, we don't need a lawyer because we have AI to draft our agreements. And that is good, congratulations, but be very careful with the kind of information you all are putting into AI, because that goes into training the model. So we should not lose track of that. It's not that it is, you know, if you all have read Harry Potter, there is a diary, secret diary in Chamber of Secrets, and you're writing secrets in that, and ultimately it comes back that it is a Horcrux. So it should not, it will come back to you. So be very careful what you're feeding the model. You know, don't disclose data that is sensitive, names of clients, your name as well. You know, if you're drafting the agreement, I would suggest that you leave them as blanks or put them as ABC, XYZ, because I cannot say don't go to AI, only go to lawyers, because that is, you know, that is coming. AI revolution is there upon us, and I cannot stop anyone from using it. Use it, but use it consciously, use it sensibly, and understand what is happening behind that. What you're feeding into it goes into training it. So do not divulge sensitive information about your innovation, your practices, things that could be a potential trade secret, things that you could potentially innovate on. Don't disclose all of this. Put in, you know, when you get a generated text, like a placeholder text, that lorem ipsum dolorum, you can put something like that and have it, or put gibberish, but do not, be very careful what information you're putting in. That is one point I would like to bring to everyone's notice. The second thing is what I have been gathering, going to conferences on intellectual property, and there also AI is the buzzword. So our concern as intellectual property professionals is, whom does this data belong to that AI is generating? Now, when that template, let's say you come to me to draft an agreement, and I draft that agreement, that template I have given to you, you can use it freely. But things that I have put in after talking to you, which is specifically tailored for your agreement, would be my intellectual property which I have given to you. Now, what happens when AI is generating something? Whom does it belong to? So that ownership is a burning issue right now with intellectual property professionals, and unfortunately I don't have an answer. Well, there are differing opinions. People say what is generated by AI, like some countries do recognize AI ownership, and I think South Africa did not allow it, but UK allows it, Ireland allows it. There are some different opinions, but my point is that ultimately, what is intellectual property? Everything that you're creating, you know, your know-how for creating your ATV, somebody else has, you know, you have your model for your AI generation. So, who is the person who's going to benefit from it? If you have a piece of land, who benefits from it? The person who owns the land, correct? I own land, I can take it to the bank, I can sell it, I can give it on rent, whatever I want to do. Why? Because the end result of that is we want to monetize it. It's a security, we get money out of it. Now, money, property, in addition to love, hate, these are all human constructs. And AI has no need or requirement for money. So the ownership should be such that when you draft it and whatever you feed into the model, when it comes out, it should be 80 or 90% your input and 10% from the AI tool. Only then we can claim ownership for you. Right now the law is, well, it's not written in stone, but right now we are of the consensus that if you have given a prompt and you have gotten something out, it doesn't belong to you.
Right.
If you have taken whatever output you have got and modified it sufficiently that it doesn't resemble the output, then it is your AI, then it is your intellectual property. So, but then we are, it's new and law is a dinosaur compared to technology, so we are always evolving very slowly.
Actually, well said, ma'am. And obviously we all are learning because this is new for every country and every country is trying to struggle or trying to understand, right, what are the AI implications and how they are going to manage from the security perspective or intellectual property perspective. Obviously, as you rightly mentioned, it will evolve over the period of some time, maybe in next 1 or 2 years when the dust settles down. So over to you, Prashant. So I know you are handling the IT function in one of the big shipping industry. So I would like to understand your challenges, right, in terms of skill gap, right? Probably you might be facing those challenges by seeing the digitization trend which are coming into your industry, right? So what are those challenges and how you are addressing to upgrade your workforce?
Thank you, Chetan.
From the technology stand.
From the technology stand, I'll say, as I'm coming from a government and defense sector basically, so there is a lot of gap which we need to bridge. Currently the data is in mostly hard copy formats. As a government, we are keen in keeping hard copies of everything. So when you try to bring in AI needs data, it needs to feed on data. So data first, you need to create digitization for that. That's the first step which we want to do. After that, the AI comes in, then the ethics come in, as ma'am said rightly. What about the data which we are getting from the AI? Any ChatGPT or DALL-E, whatever model you are using, you are giving some prompt and you are getting something in return. That something which is coming in return is being collated from all of the world sources. It is not an authentic source. You can try tracking in a prompt where you can say, please give me the references. But how authentic are those references? Secondly, as I am from a cybersecurity background, so what information you are putting in, it is going for training the model. Suppose DeepSeek is the latest buzzword, DeepSeek. China, it is notorious for cybersecurity activities. Now, whatever data you are putting in, how can you be so sure that data is going to be used properly? Those are the things, those are the key concerns which defense sector faces. Now, talking about what we require in AI, yes, ChatGPT is a good model, or large language models for that matter. But again, defense is a paranoid kind of situation. We don't disclose our data. So we require those large language models to work on-prem solutions.
Yeah.
It should be an on-prem solution. We don't want to go on cloud. We don't want a private cloud. We don't want a public cloud. Nothing. We want our data to reside in our premises. But to bring a large language model in an on-prem solution, it is, again, as you said, it is a costly thing. So what we need is a cost-effective solution to bridge this gap. And I suppose that's where AI Studio Metalix come in. You need to you need to think of not single objectives. If there are multiple objectives there which can be combined as a one single output, that is what government is more looking into.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Prashant, you are bang on. So, in terms of LLM, right, that's what we are also hearing, and that's also our belief that it should be industry specific. LLM should not be, as ma'am also rightly mentioned that, or Till also is mentioning, a lot of data is, we are seeing a lot of data coming out from these models, right? And nobody knows whether it is right or wrong. And then other day I reading some article and then it was mentioning that the LLM, maybe ChatGPT or Grok or DeepSeek, whatever output they are giving, right? Nobody knows if that output got updated somewhere, but they are still not giving or updating that the latest output, right? And they are still showcasing the old data information which they have, right? So that's again the problem. So obviously now startup like us should focus on industry relevant LLM or SLM probably, for matter of the fact, and understand your area, business areas, and provide a tailor-made offerings, right? And that is possible. I think in coming months, people will start offering those products as well to the industries to safeguard their data. And that's what we are seeing, and that's what our belief in iTech Seed, and that's what we wanted to do from this AI Studio MetaX. So thanks for that. So moving to you, Mr. Kiran, so I knew that you are in investment area. So obviously you are seeing a lot of AI related startup in your PT, right? Or maybe in your world, wherever you are going. So what is that you are keeping in mind while shortlisting the right companies, right, to fund in terms of their potential or growth? What is that that particular parameters you typically check on, right, while deciding, yes, I want to invest in these companies, and then whether this kind of technology companies are on your radar or not?
Yeah, so like daily we get a lot of applications, so AI based, but maximum applications are not relevant. Not relevant in the sense, I will say many of the startup comes, they just use a AI word that we are building so and so thing, and AI is there in this, just because they want to raise fund, just because they want to go with their valuations. But practically those startup doesn't need any kind of AI in that. So startup need to understand where AI is needed, what actually AI is solving the problem, and how we should use the AI. So we have a checklist. So we see to it what actually the problem they are solving it, and where the AI comes in the picture. So randomly they cannot come up and say this is the thing, or this is this kind of in future we'll be doing an AI. So this AI will be solving this problem. It doesn't make any sense. So startup always needs to make sure why and where they are using the AI and for what they are using the AI. Because all the investors, they are very happy to hear about the AI, doesn't mean they will get the money upfront. So those kind of cautions, those kind of understanding is needed to the startups.
Yeah, absolutely, you are right. So keeping in mind time check, I would request all of you to raise your questions, queries, if you have for anyone from the panel side. Maybe from Mr. Tej, or Mr. Umesh, Mr. Prashant, Madam, and then Mr. Kiran Mehta. Yes.
So, do you all think that prompt writing...
You first tell your name, introduce which college you are from.
My name is Swam Sawant and I am from PCC College, Goa.
Okay.
So my question is, do you all think that prompt writing will turn into a skill or a job in the future?
So Madam is the right person to answer.
So that field you're referring to is called prompt engineering, which has nothing to do with traditional engineering. And yes, right now it is a buzzword, and there are a lot of people who are getting jobs based on their CV saying that they're prompt engineers. But in the future, I think AI can replace that also. So when you're looking at skilling, you have to look at hard skills, things that are going to get. Yes, they say that AI is going to replace all the traditional jobs, but we are some while away from that, and you should still skill up on the traditional knowledge. I don't know if anyone has any other.
So, I have some notion on this. So obviously, when organizations like DeepSeek and all, there will be new jobs created, like prompt engineering and all. 10-15 years back, we did not have a job like incubation manager or incubation CEO. And I did a podcast for Ministry of Education where I had 4-5 incubation CEO, and some of them heard this term incubation just 3 years before they become the incubation CEO. So the program prompt engineering will definitely be kind of taking, so any industry when it kinds of thrives, it will come up with some new job creations, and I think it will be a different domain because that time required to get certain output is I think a very big skill in AI. And as I mentioned earlier, it's ego, right? If your prompt is wrong, you will get wrong answers. And to understand the psyche or the algorithm of AI, how it works, someone who can do it nanosecond and microsecond will matter when we are talking about competing and the kind of competition which will be created in the near future between different generative AIs or any other AI for that matter. So I think these kind of jobs will definitely be created where someone understands those things and pivot around that.
I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
But I would say you keep like updating yourself, because whatever the new job creation is coming up, it has a lifespan of 5 to 7 years. After 5 to 7 years, some other buzzword will come up. So you need to keep upgrading yourself, what you're doing it, and skill set you need to upgrade on.
Thank you. Anyone? Yes, what's your name?
Yeah. Hi sir, my name is Mangesh. I'm from PCC only. Okay, and I wanted to ask everyone a question that when will be the common folk, when will they be able to use AI and experiment with AI, LLMs and stuff like that? This is my question.
So I'll take that question straight away. So that's a good question. So obviously, as we are mentioning that it will take certainly some time, does need to settle down. Maybe in next 1 year down the line, 1 or 2 years down the line, there would be a lot of models which will be a kind of user-friendly and people will start adopting. That's where the government of India is focusing, right? When you might be hearing that India AI mission, what is that, right? Our government of India would like to develop such kind of model which can be used by the common person, common man, right, across India in various languages. As of now, the information is flowing only in English, right, most of the time. So that is where we are working on, right? We as an industry working on to develop models in the local language, right? Where they
So I wanted to ask, when will the developers be able to use LLMs and say? As in, we are students, engineering students who want to experiment. We have ideas in our minds that we want to put it into.
So there is no stopping to you at this moment also. You can start working on developing those models. They recently, Krutrim also launched the model which you can use, right, and then work on those of local languages, LLM models. You can try those models, right.
Just the hardware issues that we.
Yeah, so hardware issues obviously bits. Mr. Manoj and Mr. Roy are there, so there is a NVIDIA GPUs, right, which are available. Industry is also working on toward that side. Government is also offering those GPU under India AI mission. If you would like to work on that, probably you would like to sync up with your incubation cell to get those models. There are a lot of companies now they are offering, but then you need to associate with those missions, right? Maybe with you start working with the agencies who are working with those AI missions. Probably, if you interest, probably you can approach us also. We are also planning to work with those people, right, on that, to developing those kind of models. So probably there you will get a kind of available infrastructure, right, which is required to run those AI models.
Yeah. So how long will it take for let's say, have you all worked with Google Colab? Colab is like let's say cloud device that everyone can use from their homes, right? So how long will it take for our education to be able to integrate that into the academics so we can test our.
So I guess now every colleges or universities or institutes, they are having enough GPUs with them. to run those kind of models, right? So I think you need to start approaching your cells, right? Your innovation cells or your AI labs, and then understand how much capacity they have to work on those models, and you will start building. I don't think so. There is nobody is stopping you at this moment. The resources are available. Only thing you need to reach out to the right folks so that you can start adopting or start using those kind of resources at the right time.
If I may add, I think it will be, so not everything will pop up at one go. I think Government of India did well with Bhashini AI. In fact, AICT also has Anuvadini. So during G20, you must have heard real-time 22 languages were translated. And all the people from G20 were able to hear the conversations in their own, language. So, because it requires a lot of data as well, right? And I think what you talked about is a platform for students where they can come and explore. I think it will, if you look at from the government perspective, it will take a lot of time. It will be already kind of evolved. So, because government has its own processes, right? A lot of approvals, a lot of thought through things, and we don't look at only one category of, community or people where we want to cater to. We look at offering it for all. Like, we say AI for all. So when we say AI for all, then the policy thought through document, we are not catering that metro ke liye alag, it doesn't go that way. It is that, okay, like AICT developed national institutions startup policy. That's pan-India, right? It's not just for metro-based institutions and all. So it takes a lot of time. So if you are dependent on government, I think, there is this movie from based on Dashrath Manjhi, which says कि आप भगवान के भरोसे बैठे रहोगे तो क्या पता भगवान आपके भरोसे बैठे रहे. So that's the thing, and that's why institutions like BITS, and IITs and other institutions need to leverage these kind of facilities like AISOD and all, and initiate the journey, and then probably along that it will come, because still we are also figuring out a lot of things, right? We don't know the clear picture. And I think government will be able to take that stand when those things are clear. And when it will be, we have been talking about AI policy for a while. I wrote an article 2 years back. Europe has GDPR and various other countries have their own. But India is yet to come with a formal AI policy. We are working on the data policy now. So when we say AI for all, what will be part of that? And until unless a policy is there, we don't have the framework to play, right? So you can have AI studio lab, Metalex in your college, and
so you can reach out to us probably offline, and then we can start figuring out. That's the reason we establishing this AI studio, right? Wherein we wanted the youngsters like you to come and work with us, come up with your ideas and work out those innovative models, right, to build upon, and then we'll provide all the resources. It is not just our AI studio; it is a co-creation lab basically. So what we are telling to all the young entrepreneurs to come and work with us, right, on those innovative offerings, right, which we are taking to the market. And then obviously, certainly, if you are having ideas and want to work on such kind of models and you need infra GPUs, right, so we'll figure it out, as Mr. Umesh rightly mentioned, right, because अभी हमको ही पता नहीं कि किसको क्या लगने वाला है, but the GPUs are available, right, with your incubation center also the infrastructure is available, and every college has been mandated, government is pushing them to buy their own hardware, right. We have a tie-up with some of the data center who has offering GPU offerings, so they would also like to part of this kind of development, but we certainly need to understand more from you, right, what kind of model you want to develop, what is your requirement from the infra side, and then probably we'll figure it out how to align or allocate that kind of required GPUs to develop the model. Right?
In fact, going ahead, I think you need to contribute to the policy document as to what needs to be there and how it could be shaped up. Like Maharashtra government is going for the startup policy now. They are going to revise it. So how we can shape it up? So your contribution also lies there. In fact, I would like to ask how many of you, are interested and working in AI and you envisage yourself doing a startup? Anyone over here in AI as a startup or work in this domain?
We work in AI.
You are in the AI, in what sense?
We develop like softwares for like final year like projects basically at a student level.
Oh, that is, those are college projects.
You can contribute your feedback like to Maharashtra State Innovation Society. 2 days back only they have announced 300-acre land specifically for the AI. So they are calling for all the feedbacks and suggestions.
So probably Mr. Prashant can answer on that, his question, right? You can take it offline, right? Probably. So he is heading startup cell of Goa, so he's the right person to provide you insight, right? What state governments are doing on those fronts, right? So anyone from the audience? I think this is good discussion. Keeping in mind the time set, I'll ask Umeji if you would like to tell something about the AI Studio Lab before we end this panel discussion.
I think one thing which I did not highlight in the panel was the collaboration between academia and the industry has always been talked about, that we need that. But because faculties don't have that bandwidth, that we need someone who can supervise it, and I think that's where AI, MentalX Lab, AI Studio MentalX Lab can, pitch in, and that's where the students and faculties can co-create with industry, right? So there could be a track, the new IPs could be created through this. Already, when you look at the landscape of IP in generative AI, 25,000 patents have been filed and mostly are from China, around 10,000 plus. While we are just yet to understand what is generative AI or the academicians at large within our ecosystem, it is really important for us to adopt it, embrace it, and then look for creation of IPs in this domain, because that's what will keep make us stand out. And I think coming up with the innovative solutions is something which we need to look at, and that allows, the MentalX allows us to kind of think beyond the mimic models with the advent of AI. So make the most of it, I should say, that it's here now, and you have a great incubation support parallelly. So whatever you invent, you want to create MVP, the hardware could be developed, and then you can pitch it, you can get incubated, and then you can raise funds, maybe through VC or through government grants. And it's a perfect time to do startup, I could say. I started off in 2010 when there was no grants. I went to DHT office actually to seek grants, and they had 6,000 crores, and they said, we have that money, but we don't know how to give it to you. So today, every department has a different scheme, right? If you talk about 25, 30 sectors, from aerospace to health tech, medtech, whatever you want to invent, there is a government support available, list of investors available on Startup India portal, list of incubators available on Startup India portal, 1270 incubators, right? And different grants which they have. So if you are a startup founder, you want to do a startup, you just have to come to the incubator, pitch your idea. If you have an MVP and they say yes, okay, Manoj sir or Anirban sir says yes, we would like to incubate you. So you have a 20 lakh rupee Startup India seed fund grant. That avenues are available today, which did not exist. And if we are not leveraging them, then right, so it's up to you.
Yeah, thank you. So last word, encouraging word from your side for this kind of collaboration.
I think right now we are already working with IIT Goa right now in terms of the hardware side of it, in terms of motor development and other power electronics. We would definitely be interested in working with MentalX towards machine learning. As I said, agri-technology is developing quite fast. Automation in agriculture is the key space to work in. It's around 5 billion, growing at more than 35% per annum. And that's one sector we would like to closely work with MentalX. I feel Goa has a huge potential. We have so many students from PCCs, from Father Agnel College, a lot of them who come to intern with us, to work with us. And I think it's a perfect place to come up with ideas and move forward. I think it's time for us to take Goa on the world map.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In fact, I was thinking during this panel, I was thinking about, I have also an idea and which I could bring, I do want to bring to the studio, and we'll discuss it later. So, AI is a very useful tool. Please don't go by what I said at the beginning of the talk. I mean, yes, we have to use it responsibly, whatever we use. But it's a fantastic tool to have, and these are exciting times to live in. So we have, I mean, I am also going to go and speak to the team of AI Studio MetalX after this panel discussion. So please, if you have ideas, bring it. You're at the right place at the right time.
Thank you, Mr. Prashant.
So AI has a lot of opportunity going ahead. I would say AI is an enabler. You use AI for all your deep tech innovations. You can find a lot of solutions which you haven't thought of. AI can provide you with that. So use AI as an enabler. AI is not the end goal, as ma'am said. It is an enabler. So use it the way you want it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, everyone had covered up what I want to say. So Prashant sir and ma'am had rightly said, use it into a right way. Just give a try and see to it how it works.
And then funds are available for those kind of right innovation, right?
Provided it has to be a unique, it should not be a generic.
It should actually be AI.
Yeah.
Not just
Absolutely. So it's a wonderful discussion. Thanks all of you. So team, thank you. Thanks for being patient here, listening to us. Thank you.
IPR landscape within the country and the challenges within the ecosystem. So we have with us Shalini Menzies ma'am, who is one of the renowned IP attorneys within the ecosystem across India, right? She has been doing IPR for BITS Pilani, BITS Goa, and various other institutions like IIT Goa. We have Manoj Gopalan sir, who is leading the BGIES, which is the incubation center of BITS Goa. And he has been doing wonderful work in IPR team as well.
Yes. I will tell you. So I'm handling BITS Goa intellectual property rights for professors, students, and startups. So those who are very interested in that's doing patents, that's you find something innovative. So we'll help in terms of BITS Goa. So I'm pointing out only for BITS Goa. So we'll help you if anyone was interested to file the patent.
Outside of BITS Goa, you can still talk to me.
And if you need other connects for PCT and all, I am also there. So I am connected to a good number of resources like Shalini ma'am and Manoj Gopalan ji. So one question to both of you, because you have been dealing with a lot of academic patents, copyrights, or trademarks for that matter. What is the life cycle of the patent? Like, how is the journey initiated? How do you approach faculties or when faculty approaches you? So what is the lifespan, how the cycle of IP creation to grant takes place?
So, like I mentioned in the previous panel discussion, that this is a very exciting time to be in. One, because the timing, as Umeshji said, that we filed 1 lakh patents. 1 lakh patents were granted last year, as opposed to 25,000 the year before that. What is even more interesting is that before that was 2 years of COVID, right? So before COVID, 2020, it was 5,000 patents a year. So we've gone from 5,000 to 1 lakh in a span of 4 years, which is amazing. So you can see the life cycle of a patent from application to grant is reduced considerably. Where in 2024, 2023, I was still arguing cases from 2016. Now I'm getting grants within 6 months. So I've gone from a 7-year wait period to a 6 to 8 month wait period, right? And it is shortened if it speeds up. If you are a startup, if you are a woman applicant, if you are an educational institution. So you can pay extra fees, you can get early publication, early examination. And I have had BITS application as well as IIT Goa application filed and granted end to end in 6 months. If at the start of my career, this was unthinkable because you had 4 years, you had a 4-year wait period to apply for request for examination, and now you can expedite everything. So if under normal cases when nobody is under any rush, it is still granted comfortably within a year and a half if you have the time to wait. And typically that's what we do. We do it if there is a no rush. If there is a startup or a woman applicant, we always suggest you can speed up the process. I'm just going to stick with the timeline for now, and maybe next question if you have about process, then I will.
Absolutely, we are going to dive into that, but I would like to know from Manoj sir. Manojji, at BITS Goa, so how's the life cycle over here, and if you can give us some numbers, how many patents are filed by BITS Goa, and you know.
I will paint that. So overall BITS Pilani, we have around 5 campuses, in which, that's exactly ma'am too, last 5 years alone, in all the campuses we have 434 patents. It's in BITS campuses alone, right? And in Goa alone, it's 100, more than it crosses 100. So I'm telling you about the grant. What we got is grant. The filed patent is exceeding more numbers. And for the past 2 years, its numbers are very high, rising, because we are now telling about what is the process that's happened 10 years back, and now what's the process right up now. Okay, it was very easy. Normally, as ma'am told, 18 months, but it takes 18 to 30 months. 31 months is the maximum. Okay, 18 to 31 months. For a woman, it was special case. You can get it very granular. So each of the certain points, BITS have a certain policy, like that outside they had a certain policy. But the granting, everything was same. I'll honestly tell you 18 to 30 months to get you grant 18 months. Okay. Yes,
okay.
And it has a certain life cycle term. It's not is life fully the patent once it is granted. You need to renew it.
Correct.
Every 10 to 15 years, that certain point is there. You need to renew it. Term.
So good insights, from both of you on that. What I would like to ask next is, because a lot of young startup founders are going to listen to this video and are also present here. What is the utility of patents for a startup? And when we talk about innovative startups, so how is your perspective about it? And have you seen some of your patentees getting the leverage of the patent they have filed? And if not that, have you seen them maybe doing commercialization of their patents, like tech transfer or licensing? Because I think in India, we are lagging on that. This 1 lakh patents which are granted, it's a big black box. We don't know what are these patents and what is the utility. Have they done a startup around it? Have they gone for commercialization or licensing? So what's your take on this?
I'll give you a case study about you need to first understand what exactly is patent. Okay. So intellectual property rights, if you draw an art and you feel that you are the first person to draw that art in the world, you can file the patent. Okay. I'll tell you one simple case study. There is one monkey selfie case, if you heard about that. You know,
I'm just going to stop you here. That is copyright, that is not patent.
Not patent, yeah. Sorry. I tell you, it's a copyright. So there are a lot of terms which will be used in intellectual property rights. Copyrights, trademarks, patents, etc. Okay. So if you have the mobile phone, you see a case study of monkey selfie case. Okay. So the monkey name is Naruto, I think. Naruto. So accidentally one man, so he dropped his mobile phone. Okay.
No. That guy, he's a wildlife
photographer.
And he kept those cameras where the monkey comes and
trees. And the monkey clicked the selfie. So now I want to your point of view. Who is the owner of that phone?
Monkey?
I need an answer. This is an interaction session.
So she said monkey.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Anyone
I need
else
answers.
has any other opinion?
whether it is right or not, you just tell us, I want to be an interaction system.
Camera
Man, right then. Who are belong to monkey? Monkey and who belong to man?
A monkey can raise a hand.
So whether it is right or not.
Camera
Just
guy,
raise it.
cameraman, okay. We have a couple of people.
Actually, finally, there is a lot of arguments goes on, and finally the court grant that to man, to that wildlife photographer. So if you know the answers, you can study that case. You can study that case and how the steps has gone on, and then you will understand how the real life world is different from what we are seeing. Okay, each and every terms in intellectual property rights is very important, very important. That's what, while we had a discussion on AI, ma'am immediately suggested that not AI alone can do that. It requires certain manpower also. Man's intelligence was more powerful than AI. So we can, the persons who is very deep knowledge in intellectual property can change anything in the documents rather than using AI. But AI's involvement is very much needed. It's both mutual collaboration. We can do anything and can change it. I'll get back to man's stances.
So, where intellectual property helps startups is you can take that. So we are working on making it so that you can take your intellectual property, ideally a patent, to the bank, and the bank will give you a loan as if you've taken your land papers and gotten a mortgage against it. So that is the ideal situation. Now, Umeshi said we don't know what happens to the 1 lakh patent, it's a black box. It is not just India, it is not the situation just with India. This is a situation with the entire world. 95% of the world, I would say 97% of the world's patents are uncommercialized. The ones making money are 3% of the patents in the world, and those are, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Samsung, those people's patents. So what is happening to people like us when we patent something? I also have a patent in my name. Okay? What happens to people like you and me? Now, thankfully, a situation is changing slowly, where banks are recognizing intellectual property as an asset. So you can take your intellectual property to the bank. You can look up Kingfisher trademarks. And with that, if you're into music, you will know, you've heard of a musician called David Bowie. You can go and look up David Bowie and his bonds, Bowie bonds they're called. So we have people leveraging IP now, more and more. Where as a startup, how does it impact? How does it matter if you're a startup and you stand up and say, I have so many patents? The way it works is you impress investors. That means you have a strong research and development core team. You have something solid. Prashant also spoke about it in the morning that we need deep tech. So once you have patents, it automatically means that it's assumed that you have something deep tech, something worth protecting, right? So your valuation goes up, your business valuation goes up. When your business valuation goes up, the funds you receive, the number of people who are willing to invest in you is going to increase. The funds you receive will increase proportionately, and you can go to the next stage of either funding or scaling up or growing whatever it is that you have next in the pipeline. So having an IP is a very attractive thing. When you go with a portfolio like that I have 5 trademarks, 10 patents, 3 designs, people look at you, it is impressive. The ones in the field, in the technology, for them it is impressive, not to ones who are connected. And I think your second question was in that same vein. Your second question was
related to commercialization and licensing.
So commercialization, so my next stage, so I was, for the longest time I was an intellectual property attorney and a corporate lawyer, but then I realized that getting a patent is not the be all and end all of the existence. Once we get the patent for 20 years, as Manoj said, you have to pay renewal fees for 20 years. Why should I simply go on putting money down the sink? I don't have extra money. So we have to now look at it as an asset. It's an intellectual property asset. It is an intangible asset. So we need to be able to take it to the bank, to the market, to the consumer and say, hey, buy this and give me the money. And that is where I'm working on valuation. on putting a price tag for these intangible products. Okay, so I value them, see what is the technology, see what the market, how the market is growing, what the technology is worth, what people are doing in the other parts of the world and so on, growth rate and so on. And obviously if you're new, then I don't have revenue and cash flow and so on for you. So I look at someone comparable in the same stage as you, but whose numbers are out in the market, and I will give you a fair market value. Just like how you get your gold valued and your land valued. Now the next step to that is to go and sell it out or to license it out. So I'm working with a US firm as a consultant, helping them to take their, this plan works right now in the US and Europe, but I am working on bringing that to India and making that possible here. But for that, that has to come down a bit and our quality has to go up a bit. So it will get there. We are on the right track. With the increase in numbers, I think we are on the right track. So Manoj will tell you about...
tell you the difference actually. So we call this patents, trademarks and called as untouchable property assets. There are certain property rights. You have some properties, okay, land, then your house, then certain things. It is touchable. That's called touchable properties. So this patent, trademarks, these are called untouchable properties. Exactly how your land and others value will rise also. Similarly, patents also have certain kind of values. And I am rightly told, you need to find a certain right firm to mark your price tag. Okay, so it cannot be done once after 1 year or 2 years. After 10 years or 20 years, once you got renewal, that property belongs to you, and then you approach to the right companies, and your price tag will be more compared to what you have done in first year, right?
The only thing is we are working on a very strict timeline here because patents are valid for 20 years from date of application. So come 20th year, it is now in public domain. Okay, so you have to be, you have to work first also. What happens with patents? What happens with technology? Now, if you look pre-COVID, nobody was interested in COVID-related medicines, correct? We were all working on cancer-related drugs and AIDS-related drugs. Then what happened? When COVID struck, suddenly people realized, oh, we need a medicine for this. So all the other research went almost to zero and everyone was doing, all the labs were doing COVID-related research. So at that time, if I wanted to buy a COVID-related patent or I wanted to license a COVID-related COVID drug or COVID drug delivery-related patent, that price would be astronomical. But now we are out of COVID. Now if I want to go and buy, if that guy comes to me and says, buy this for that same amount I was selling in 2021, will I be willing to pay that? No. So the market and market sentiments is very crucial when we come to putting a price tag. That is why these intangible products like patents, trademarks, copyrights, they are very difficult. They are not difficult, but they're tricky to put a price tag on. And if you remember Kingfisher, so Vijay Mallya, when he had the Kingfisher trademarks, and when the airlines was doing well, and when he was all in everyone's good books with all his gold and diamond and the Kingfisher Airlines, at that time whatever value he wanted, he could have commanded for the trademarks. But once he declared bankruptcy, once he was kicked out of the country and he fell in everyone's eyes, what happened to those trademarks? Would we pay the same price as he would have commanded when he was still in power? No. So they were auctioned off to the bank. Okay. So that's how these things play out. So you have to be forward thinking when you're looking at a technology that you want to obtain a patent in. You have to be thinking 10 steps ahead. Then of course, we cannot do anything about things like COVID and any other pandemic that comes in, but as far as possible, we should be forward thinking.
Coming to the next question. So these were good insights, and I'm happy that you touched upon the fact that, the price points and evaluation of the patents. Evaluating a startup itself is a big, task. And here you have a patent, right, which is intangible, or you cannot see it, it's in thin air. So I know an IP attorney from Mumbai who came to me with, I met her in one of these events. She was like, Umeshji, you are connecting the dots with the investors to the patentee. And she said, I have a guy who has a patent of a different box, inspired by his wife. He has created it, and it heats up on its own. So whenever you are hungry, it will heat up on its own, so you don't need a gas, something like that. And that guy is expecting 280 crores as a one-time tech transfer fee. So I'm still trying to figure out. It has been in the back of my mind. And so how did he or that person came with this value? And because when I interacted with investors, they were already thinking that as if I am asked them, they can get me or whatever. But how do the faculties or academicians also, because it's finally like, you need, with patent also you're creating some value. You're selling it off or you're licensing it. Like I know Robert Bosch fuel injection pumps across the globe. Wherever there is a car or vehicle which is using fuel, so the fuel injection pump is licensed or made by Robert Bosch. So the utility again for 20 years. So how do you evaluate the price of a patent? Is there a method? Is there a rubric? I know you already mentioned that you consider the TAMSOM and all those, what we do with the startup as well. But if it's very unique, right? And it's like, I know a lot of people are patenting things which we will maybe wear on Mars, or the way we will eat on Mars. Things have been getting patented on that. So how do you value this?
So I have a PhD in this field, in valuation of patents from the finance department. And at the end of that, all I can tell you is, so it is an art as well as a science. Okay, but I will also tell you at the end of it, it is what the market commands. Whoever is selling or whoever is buying, if it's a seller's market, the seller will command a price and the buyer has to pay it. And if it's a buyer's market, the buyer will command a price and you have no option but to go along. So there are methods that we use. There are 3 common methods, like cost method, market method and income method, which any finance person will be comfortable with. But what we do is we put in intellectual factors that are sensitive to patents, factors that impact patents. Now, which is of course your TAM, SAM, all that of course, but also how is this technology growing? What is the number of forward citations? What is the number of backward citations? Has this patent been litigated? Has this patent been licensed? Were there any oppositions during this patent being granted? Who opposed it? If Tata or Birla came after me when I was filing for the patent in the opposition phase, then that means my patent is valuable. But if nobody opposed it and it got a quick grant, then maybe it's not that valuable. So there are a lot of factors that we take into account. Having said that, the US firm that I'm consulting for, I was asking if I can do financial model, if I can get into financial modeling and do this kind of valuation for them. And he said, what the investor decides, that is the amount. So really, if your investor has decided something and that is not 280 crores, then that's the amount you have to go with.
So, Vince's point of view, I have seen certain same technology in Japan, where you're going to train, bullet train or something trains, nearby areas there is a hot box. A box is there, which you feel doesn't feel heat, okay? But once that box got in your hand, there is a tiny thread, okay? If you remove that thread, it will get boiled, okay? The same kind of technology as the tool. It must be if that person or this person invented the first part. That is the question here. Whoever invented first, the patent will be granted to that person. There is certain timing is there. I am also knows that. After that patent is granted and then you are applying, I am also invented the same technology. There is a disputes will come and whoever filed the patents, that person will be granted. So whether we don't know, we invented first or Japan, but the technology is same, almost same. But when we entered into a deep search analysis, that is a chemical. When we find out that Japan, that box is a chemical. So once you remove the thread, the chemical start making the product very heat, and it was heated. So this is something interesting in IPR. If you go into the deep, like every point will be interesting, and every case studies was very interesting. So hope you go through it, and I want some of them to file the patents once you find a new inventions very quickly and crisply.
Moving on to the next question. So a lot of data points available now in the market about the IP. And today institutions are known for two things. One, how many patents are licensed, or like how commercialization is taking place. And how many startups are coming out of an XYZ institution. We all know IT Madras is doing well when we talk about commercialization.
Yeah.
I think 18 crores they made through tech transfer only. So how do you see this evolving in academia, like role of IP and when we talk about innovative ideas? So how we can take this to tier 2, tier 3 cities, or do you think only metros are able to do it, or the educational institutes in metros can do it? How do we handle this, and what is your perspective? Like I always think that we had this Dharavi, right? Now it's going to be moved from there. It was $1 billion industry, and Stanfords and Oxfords of the world were coming and visiting that. From Jugaad to that thought process, and seeing what they have created, going back, maybe revisiting it, coming up with some patented ideas for that. So how do you look at it? What's your perspective on academic institutions becoming hub for IPR and technology transfer? Do you have some case studies?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of ideas which I'm trying to push at various levels on this. Absolutely, academia is the hotbed for research, and industries, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, should partner up with academia. Now, how do we get the industry's attention? So I was talking to Professor Anirban Roy earlier today, and what we were thinking of is to have like a small open house, technology specific. So if you want, say, chemical treatment of water, or if you want, say, drone, UAV. So we only call those, and we call the competitors. So they create a bit of FOMO among them, invite them, have poster presentations from the faculty that is involved in that research, and communicate to them that this is what we are doing and this is what we are capable of. And they say, okay, fine, we never thought of this solution, so we can partner on this project. So now there is money coming in from the industry, and the university has a name also to show, like a case study, a success story. And now, because there is money coming in, your original product or your original patented invention, which would have been at a TRL 2 or 3, a technology readiness level of 2 or 3, because the industry is coming in and pumping money, now you can showcase a TRL 7 product. And that the industry can either have a spin-off on it, or they can help fund that startup with the professor in charge, or they can shelve it saying that we don't want to work on this anymore, but we have bought it from you. So multiple levels the educational institution benefits, the industry benefits, because now they are partnered with brightest minds of that region, and because they are both in that same region, they will solve problems that are plaguing that region, geographical problems that are for that. Either it is mines, extraction of minerals, or water purification, or electricity problem, whatever is there, we are coming together to solve our local problems, rather than saying, let's focus on what is a problem that the US is solving. Doesn't help us. So, yes, I think we should invite, and tea and snacks, when you are discussing something over an informal setting of tea and biscuits, I think everyone is a bit relaxed and open to listening and open to sharing ideas. So we should have, I think BITS should spearhead that and invite the local industries. Start with a particular technology, and we can get a success story out of it.
I would like Manoj to highlight, are there any tech transfers which have happened from BITS apart from startups being created? So,
yeah, definitely. There is a lot of tech transfers also done by BITS. And BITS, so the startups, out of 108 unicorns in India, 15 startups are from BITS.
Yeah,
BITS, it's a very great number.
Yes.
Because out of 108, 15 is a very, very huge number. So unicorns, and because BITS is supporting the technology transfers from the beginning itself. And one more thing I will point out that I was working at IAC also, and the server is also IAC. So normally we will conduct, there is a portal called Yukti portal.
Yes.
Okay? It's Yukti. we are conducting a lot of hackathons, ideathons, smart India hackathons, some kind of things. So we are getting ideas from students to startups. Mostly we'll target students. But there is, sir know that, there is only limited number of ideas will be shared into the IPTI portal, not every idea.
Okay.
So what is the difference? The fear inside the mindset that my idea can be worked out or not, something. So normally BITSI's actually got 4-star out of 5-star in IRIS innovations kind of things. And when we research it, where we lag behind, the C is IPTI portal, the ideas we uploaded was very, very less. And they had a certain weightage point, 5-6 weightage point. The thing is, they are thinking whether the patent, can we go for any patent kind of things, or whether we go for industrializations, commercializations. So there is a certain gap. They doesn't know that it can be patented, and then they go for commercialization. They are not thinking about the patent kind of things. They are either go for commercializations or they just drop off. Okay. The gap between this need to be identified, and we need to create certain awareness among them, from students to startups. And even honestly, we are saying, few years back, even the professors only publish the papers, and they doesn't go for other kind of things. Then they go for patent rights, and after patent rights, they are not going for the commercialization of the product. But right now it is changing, but still this is a tier 2 city. We need to create some awareness, and hope we will start an initiative with the ma'am. There is an world intellectual property rights raised on April 26th, and we'll start an initiative, and we'll call some industrialists as ma'am too, and we'll create an impact from here onwards. We'll start that.
So we'll partner with that event. Yes. I would be happy to do that. Coming to the next question, right? Let's start, like we have discussed a lot in TEP, but I think foundation is about how many patents were created or filed, how many copyrights, trademarks, or GIs. So if you see the data from the government, everything is on exponential, it's increasing. We did not have anything on semiconductors until 2018. Now I think we have 22, 23. Yes. So that's a very less number compared to a nation of 1.5 crore.
The challenge
right?
is still actually we cannot able to break that is the only that semiconductor part.
Right.
During the COVID also, we are importing that from China. As per the price they are disclosing is very much huge during the COVID time also. Lot of industries faced very difficulties due to that.
So my question is, like people listening to this and the students and people sitting in front, how they can initiate the journey. I think patent is something far-fetched. Like you need a lot of paperwork to be done and multiple meetings with the IP attorney, and the cost maybe. Like for AICT, we have Kapila scheme, where we reimburse the amount paid by the institutions, faculty, students to file a patent. Right, 100 patents per academic institution for a given year. But if not patent, like how we can bring up the numbers in copyrights or trademarks also. I believe a lot of colleges do fests and all, right? And they don't think of trademarking that or So what is your take on this? How they can initiate? Any student listening to this, how they can initiate their journey into IPR?
Okay, so first is we need a bit of a mindset shift is stop looking at jugaad solutions. Okay? Start looking at actual real solution, not just scotch tape and glue wala solution. That's where the real innovation lies. Now second, if you want to bring up the numbers, you can have like an IP harvesting fest where you get a whole bunch of people and you ask them to work on something, and what happens in that room, then see, a small disagreement with you if you don't mind,
sure.
That the paperwork is really not that much, okay, and neither is the time frame. And your university bears all the cost, the patenting cost.
So I'd like to just reiterate it.
Yeah.
From me, I know,
Yeah.
but from students, right? When they hear patent,
Yeah.
they think the perception is, oh, it is a hell of a task.
Absolutely.
So I was with that notion, and that's what I wanted to.
Okay. You were speaking as a student.
Right.
So, so really there isn't that much paperwork. I mean, yes, the paperwork is for the lawyers, but we like it. We don't put any paperwork on you except reading and saying that you have to tell me whether it's right or wrong, whether my understanding is right or wrong. So you get to be the teacher, I get to be the student. and the cost is borne by the university or your place of employment, whoever it is, okay? Unless it is something you have created in your spare time. And even then we can find grants for you, okay? So you have to just come with your innovation written down. So barely any paperwork. Secondly, if you want to look at harvesting innovation on a larger scheme, patents, copyrights, trademarks. Trademark is when you're doing a business. So you see a yellow M, you know that is McDonald's. You see a blue F on a white background, you know that is Facebook or Meta, whatever it is, right? So those are if you're conducting business. But in a place of education, it's usually copyright, designs, patents. So we can have like a festival, just like how we were talking about the industry partnership. We can have like a particular festival, either for designing something, for designing a better mic, or you know, whatever is bothering you, designing better chairs, whatever it is. So we can work on something like that, harvest all those designs and file for design protection en masse. You know, from one hackathon, depending on how many people you get, we can file 50, 100 applications, and that's it. Everything is done in one day. Is this something we can work on?
The trademarks also. There is lot of, you find there is duplicate trademarks. For example, you see Starbucks, that's in logo, right? It's Indian, there is one, Sardar Bucks, I think. Yeah. So there is a duplicate, and that might be a very big issue, right? Because you are copying something, you are creating one thing, but you are copying some of them from that product. Okay, that might be get an issue, because since you are new to this, if you are finding that new logo, creating new things, you need to create it's critical thinking is very much important. It's needed. Patent is not just like that. Okay, few years back, I think 2008, there is a movie called Ghazini, I think Ghazini, right? There's a Hollywood movie called Hulk. So simple is actually almost same. There's a backside, some symbol is there. That's a big issue was created and a lot of problems created, and I think Ghazini team spent a lot of money to help without any problems. So patent, you must be careful while applying and creating some trademarks also. Normally, I think as a students, you are conducting some symposiums. So you put something as 2025, some names as, and you created a trademark. Okay, that can be done. If it was new and very innovative, without any copying something else, that can be trademark. Right? I think you get an idea now. So that's that. Critical thinking is very important, and innovation is very important.
I think what,
Just one thing. So as an extension of what Manoj was saying is, when you are doing that, before you adopt something as your trademark, or before you've decided that this is what we're going to use, run it through, the intellectual property or website has free search engines. Either run it through that. If you're not able to, then come talk to someone like me, an IP attorney, who will tell you without charging you any fees whether this can be adopted or not. I do that on a daily basis for a lot of people, and at first glance I'll tell you yes, go ahead, or don't go ahead with it. So that at least you can get from someone someone in the field. And when you're doing your hackathon or whatever, have an intellectual property resource person in the room who will then make sure everything is confidential. Because the moment you draft something or you make something and then you take it out of the room, it's gone, it's in public domain. I cannot do anything to help you. So before you publish, before you share, before you take a selfie, before you put it on Insta, please share it with your IP professional, who will then, if it cannot be protected, then go ahead and share it. But if it can, then we should do something with it.
There's a very thin line, and students are not aware what could be protected and what could not be. In fact, there's a huge chunk of faculty members also who don't know exactly. So Manoj and you rightly said, we need a lot of awareness in that. Secondly, what you rightly mentioned is innovation happens out of the comfort zone. So if you really want to be innovative, or you want patents, you need to start thinking on how you can take up some of trademarks or copyrights or design patents. So you need to think on those lines, and I think government is also doing great in that. Like we have banned second-hand selling of medical devices. Yeah. So now we really need to chip in and think how we are going to create new avenues for us. So So that way, I think a lot of things could be done. As an ecosystem, we have to be on the toes, out of our comfort zone to become an innovative society, which we see largely happening in the West and Japan. Like 17 lakh patents with China, I think.
1.5 million.
1.5 million. Yes. So that's the number of patents which are there. So I'll open the floor for questions. I think we already are seeing some hands raised. Kiran sir, would you like to?
So I want to bring into the notice, I maybe not like 6-7 months is a gap. So maybe some rules or regulation got changed. I get Goa State Innovation Society has VIR option, Virtual Innovation Register. So even if you have any kind of idea, you can go over there, you can apply it over there. It's just 250 rupees you need to make a payment. So they will do all the search and everything for you for the free of cost. The cost is borne by the Goa State Innovation Society and the government. So at least you, by paying 250 rupees, you will get to know your idea is unique or not, then you can take it further. I guess Sudeep.
So within 250 rupees? Virtual?
It's an online, so no documentation, nothing. Whatever your idea is there, you just need to fill up the online, pay 250 rupees. And
What about the confidentiality? Will it be maintained?
Yeah, it's confident. That will be maintained. And if it's good to go, they will help you out to take it further to a patent.
No, that's a
That
very
is right
progress.
from the.
I think I don't know how many states are doing it.
Yeah.
But hardly any have actually gone from provisional to complete specification in that bunch.
So I have 49,441 participate is there, and finally got granted 21. 72 is a prototype, 106 is projected, 670 workshop.
Okay.
That's a huge
So 21 it's patented already.
21 is patented.
But out of 49,000, right?
Yes.
That's 21 is very not that motivating number. I think we need to escalate it or how. So it's connected to the
That's
IP.
through that, I think we need awareness.
Right. Any questions you have for the panel related to IP? Whatever you have heard through. Anything rings your mind?
Innovation, entrepreneurship, anything you can ask.
Yeah, opportunities at incubation center, how you can get your idea incubated.
Any questions regarding startups also you can ask how to start a company.
Yeah, I've started 3 companies of my own, so and shut one. So if you have startup related questions.
Let me tell you, start a company, whether it is a success or failure, it will make you give an experience. If you're joining a new company after your failure startups, you know how the company works. And it will be easily, they will hire you easily.
Right.
Yeah.
I think as a young student, you have high chances, to try out something new. And as we discussed earlier also, the incubation landscape is getting matured. Investments are pouring in. So it's just you stopping yourself if you really want to become an entrepreneur and innovative entrepreneur with a patent for that matter. So go with a notion beyond success and failure actually.
Study some of the government funds available, which is sure. I need to tell you that Startup India Sequence Scheme, which is called SASF. You'll get a 20 lakhs grant. You don't need to repay that. Or if you're going for debt, you will get a 40 lakhs as a debt. But you need to show a case a product for that. Okay, it is for scale into market scalability, and 20 lakhs grant is for the prototype making. Okay, so lot of funds available. Government is releasing new schemes. Many Prayas, there is a scheme. See, there are a lot of schemes. Okay,
for every sector.
Every sector.
Some last thoughts from your end?
Don't be afraid to try. Okay, if you have an idea, now is the time you can do something without the risk of, oh, what if this fails and I'll lose my house or my family, or you're not supporting anyone. So now is the time you try out things. Okay, now is the time you experiment. So if you have an idea for a startup, doesn't matter if there is someone else also doing it. It doesn't have to be something that no one else on earth is doing. No. Sometimes the most common problem that you're trying to solve is where the most innovative ideas will come from. And only when you start solving, start looking at that problem and start thinking about it, you will, and the first solution is not going to be the solution that is going to go to the market. So don't be afraid to try. It will go through several iterations, reiterations, and it may fail also, but as Manoj rightly said, it will add to your CV. When you go and look for a job in that field, the first thing they will look at it and go is, oh, you've already worked in this and you have failed, so you already have so many lessons. I'll give you an example, last couple of minutes, is I started a platform for valuation and sale of patents. My idea was like how you go to Amazon or Flipkart and you put things in your cart. I want industries to come and put patents in their cart and buy it. Okay, I have listed patents. Now, I do a lot of valuation projects on that, but no patent got sold through that. But because I was working in that field, or I was talking to a lot of industry people, and day in day out I was asking, what are your problems, why won't you buy something like this? You know, why won't you just go and put patent in your shopping cart? Today, it has culminated in a dialogue that I'm having with someone in the US who wants to hire me full time for that job, for that kind of a profile. But I don't want to take it because I don't want to leave Goa. But you see the kind of impact it has, that I failed at something. But to the outside world, for me it's a failure. But to the outside world, it was that it's an idea ahead of its time. People still tell me don't shut it. Even now when I speak to people, they say don't shut that website because it is going to get there where this is going to become a reality.
Ahead of the time.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, we'll see.
So I'll end this session with a poem which I wrote a couple of years back in my first book. It's called The Fun of Being a Startup. It goes something like this. Walk alone if you must. Keep walking. You may fall. Who doesn't? Keep walking. They will stop you, won't they? Just keep walking. Did you reach your goal? No. Keep walking. When people leave you, keep walking. Everything will make sense. Keep walking. If you think your path is lost, remember, you have just created one. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you to the panel for sparing their valuable time and to the audience for being so patient listeners.
Coming to Fagin today, today's event, I really appreciate all of you who have supported us, shown your presence here throughout the day. Thanks a lot for that, and look forward to work with all of you, with Centrelect or ma'am or young entrepreneurs who are supporting us. We would really want to work with you as well in terms of the new innovations, whatever industry needs. So that's what I would like to say. And I must thank BIT's leadership for providing us a platform wherein it's really kind of a step forward in terms of collaboration, what we would like to bring in for the industry in terms of research and innovation. So I must thank to all of you. Thanks to Umeshi and Ministry of Education Innovation Cell. Thanks to Neeraj as well, who is representing Entrust Family Office. Thanks to Kiranji, who came from Mumbai on a short notice. I must appreciate his time as well. And thanks to all of you. So let's look for next event. We are planning to organize something bigger event in coming weeks, maybe after Holi. That's what we are discussing. So stay tuned. We'll keep posted all our upcoming events and the workshops and the projects which we are going to do it from the studio. Thank you. Thanks all. Yeah.
Now I invite